Went to the locker room with hamstring soreness after this play in Game 2 versus the Boston Celtics, and it is the same hamstring that caused him to miss 10 games in January. He had a hamstring strain then. He went to the locker room at the end of the third quarter, and you can see in this clip here that he's got a noticeable limp, so clearly in pain, and he did not return to the game as the Indiana Pacers go down 0-2 versus Celtics. But going back to Indiana now, even if they had Tyrese out there, it's still going to be a struggle for Indiana to bounce back from 0-2 down. But now with Tyrese in an injury cloud, we're not sure if he's going to play in the next game. Do you think the Pacers have any chance versus this Celtics team? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'll keep you updated down there as well.
And happy Friday, a Memorial Weekend Friday to all of you. How we doing today? Yesterday, what an interesting show. We got off on a tangent with the movies, and in fact, we're going to take it a step further today. We are going to separate the girls from the women, the men from the boys. Got another movie question for you. That's going to be coming up in a little bit, but it's the King's Court Live. Ryan in Sacktown with you. Hope you are enjoying your day. Did you take off early? Are you making it a 4-day weekend? We've got a 3-day week around here. We're actually not going to be on the air Monday, or at least I'm not planning to be on the air Monday. That might change, but let's get it in today. Let's finish the week strong. You can call the show 916-399 3748. You can call through Restream. You know that process. Link is in the chat. In fact, I will throw it in the chat one more time. As you heard at the top, the Indiana Pacers go down, and Tyrese Halliburton goes down as well to a hamstring injury, allegedly, reportedly by Woj. Look, the Pacers didn't have much of a chance after losing that game one to Grant. I thought maybe they would have a chance. And remember, they've got a damn good backup point guard in TJ McConnell. He runs that offense really well, and he's always a threat to pass, to shoot, to drive, whatever it may be. But TJ McConnell or not, Jesus Shuttleworth, I don't care. Without Tyrese Halliburton, this series is over. And I tried to make a little bit of an argument that Indiana could maybe bridge it over a couple games, maybe get it to 6. I don't think so. I think Indy's going to be lucky to get 1 in this series as we await word on what Indy is going to look like here in the coming days. Dallas, the T-Wolves, game 2. Game 2 tonight. Who you got? I expect the T-Wolves to bounce back big, but Dallas impressed me. They sure did in game 1. Luka gets it done. Also, Kyrie gets it done. Man, to me, I don't understand why the T-Wolves, hey, what's up, James Kelly? Why the T-Wolves aren't pushing Luka out more. Dallas is ripe for the picking if you press them. And I kind of think Minnesota has got the guys to do that. I think they can run a little press if they want to. So we can get to that as well. I said Memorial Day weekend. For many people, it's an extra day off. It's time. It's the official start to summer. Actually, it's not the official start to summer. The official start to summer is actually my birthday, June 21st. That is when summer, I believe June 21st is the longest day of the year. I don't know. Somebody help me out. My parents, you get all those myths growing up from your parents. Oh, it's the first day of summer, or it's the longest day of the year. Just like you have probably, I know I do, where it's like, hey, this is my Uncle Randy. This is my Aunt Colleen, but we're not related. You're told they're your uncle, aunt, those weird kind of things. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But anyways, Memorial Day, I want to say something, and I'm going to start the show a little bit different because, like I said, for some, it's just a day on the river. It is a day that you get off of work. Why is there a bug crawling in this studio? That should not be happening. You know, my little man, he likes to come over here and play sometimes. And he's kind of like, I talked to guy or about the guy yesterday, Rusty on Ocean's 11, Brad Pitt's character. He's always eating or drinking something. That's my son. He's always got something in his hand. So that means food has been over in this studio area. So Bubba's, if you hear this, you're going to have a chat with daddy when you get home. But I'm just kidding. But getting back to Memorial Day, for others, it's a day of remembrance. I mean, for everybody, it's a day of remembrance. Unfortunately, because of our age group, or at least my age group, man, I can't believe I'm going to say this. I turned 40 this year. I'm going over the hill. I know that we've talked about that briefly, but you know, my age group right there to enroll when the war in Iraq kicked off, the war in Afghanistan, 9/11, that happened my senior year of high school. So in some ways, our age group know a lot of people that may have been affected or gave their lives in that war. And even if you didn't, you know, it's the ultimate sacrifice. I don't know if anybody, I know Saving Private Ryan came up in the movie chat yesterday, but you know, there's a lot of documentaries out there. There's a lot of real footage out there that shows you what it's like living as a soldier, especially in Afghanistan, especially in Iraq. Afghanistan, that was a tough one. The hills and the valleys and the angles and suicide bombers, IEDs, you get it. But it's something that, at least for me in my lifetime at that age, it got real, like real. War is real. You heard about wars. You read about wars in your textbooks. Many of you that are here may have served in the military, and for that, we honor you. Memorial Day is about remembering those we lost in the line of duty. It doesn't have to be the military. It can be police officers. It can be firefighters. It can be anybody that's running to the danger and not running away from the danger. So here's how I want to start the show today. Every Memorial Day, there's one person that comes to mind for me. One person. And I'm going to introduce you to him here in just a second. This is Joe Nuri. Joe Nuri, someone I went to high school with at Elk Grove High School. Joe also was on the football team with us at Elk Grove High School. And it was kind of funny. You know how you had off-season workouts, you had you know, in-season workouts. The in-season workouts were optional for us. Usually you had to be there maybe 1 day a week, 2 days a week. But Joe and a couple of the other guys, because he was a year older than me, and I was lucky enough to get pulled up to varsity as a sophomore, yada, yada, yada. But they made a point. They lobbied the coaches to open the weight room at like 5:30, 6 in the morning, basically year round, whether we were in season or not. And they were there. Joe was there every single morning. And let me tell you, Joe was a freaking machine. I said I got to get that word out of my vocabulary, but he was. I mean, he was perfectly built for high school football. He's a little bit shorter, but he was stout. He was strong as hell. And as you're, many of you could probably relate to this, because freshman year is usually when you start learning those kind of Olympic lifts. You know what I mean? Your cleans, your snatches, all that stuff. And he did them all perfectly. And I knew I needed some help on that stuff. I knew I needed it. I knew I had the strength. I knew I had the ability to do it, but it was just an awkward movement for me. So 6 a.m. rolls around. I show up to the early workouts freshman year. And it's myself, my best friend, Tony, and Joe and one other guy. For the life of me, I can't remember who that other guy was. Oh my goodness, there's another bug in here. My goodness. All right. So getting back to what I was saying, Joe pushed us as freshmen. He's like, bet you won't come tomorrow. Like, please, we'll come tomorrow. So we went the next day. Bet you won't come again. Went the next day. Bet you won't come again. In fact, if you don't come tomorrow, we're going to can you. You guys remember Freshman Friday where you got thrown in trash cans or messed with, tied to the goalpost? The whole thing with football, and I went to Elk Grove High School, was if you got pulled up from JV to varsity, at that time, freshman to varsity really wasn't a thing just because of the age difference. I mean, there was maybe a rare player in football that made the freshman to varsity jump. But sophomore year, when you got pulled up to varsity, no matter if it's summertime or if it's raining down in the winter, our practice field had this area. And I swear, I feel like the coaches did this on purpose. Like they kept this mud pit just ready to go. And if you got pulled up to varsity, you had to go through the mud pit. And you didn't go through the mud pit just with your clothes on. You went through the mud pit in full pads. And let me tell you, it is a pain in the ass to try to get all of that stuff out of your pads, your helmets. You can get it out of jerseys, you can get it out of pants, but it sticks with you. And that's why they kind of made you do it, I think, because they wanted it to stick with you, right? It was kind of that memory, is that team building. Well, anyways, Joe went his way. We finished football, but one of the leaders of the team, undoubtedly, I don't remember if Joe played a lot or not, but I knew he was really important to the team. So I'm going to read you this. Army Specialist Joseph Scenery died August 21st, 2005, serving during Operation Iraq Freedom. Nuri, 22, of Wilton, California, assigned to the 463rd Engineer Battalion, U.S. Army Reserve. Weirton, Virginia, killed August 21st when an improvised explosive device detonated near his M916 tractor during convoy operations near Samarra, Iraq. Joseph C. Nuri was once seen eating lunch with the other first-string football stars when he saw a freshman sitting alone at another cafeteria table, terrified at the first day of school. Nuri brought the kid over to join him and the team. He was just an awesome kid, end quote, said Mike Clemens, who was one of our football coaches as well. He was a soldier on the football field, a soldier in the war. He's my hero now, end quote. Nuri, 22, of Wilton, was killed August 21st, Samarra. Graduated high school in 2001 and was based at Weirton. Despite his 5'9" frame, 170 pounds, he became a defensive lineman for the football team. I do remember that. He was so well liked, he became team captain. If you told him to be in the weight room at 6, he would be there at 5, Clemens said. He took definite aim on what he was going to do. After high school, Nuri attended Cal State Sacramento for 2 years, majoring in construction management. Then, changing plans, he joined the Army Reserve. While awaiting assignment, he attended American River College. He is survived by his parents, Charlie and Leah. I wanted to read that because that wasn't just something nice to say about somebody. That was Joe Nuri. And I'm not sitting here acting like Joe Nuri was my best friend, because he wasn't. But Joe Nuri, what he did to that freshman, he did to me. And you know what happened? I never missed. Tony and I, we kept the 6 a.m. weight room going. That was something that we made sure after Joe graduated, we took that torch. And we still showed up at 6 a.m. when there was only the two of us and maybe one other person. And we started dragging people into it. No matter if we had a football game the Friday night before, we had a basketball game the night before, we were in the weight room at 6 a.m. Joe set a standard for the rest of the team, and his work ethic was contagious. He is a hero, an absolute hero. That is just one story of one hero from Elk Grove, California that I happened to go to school with. Joe, thank you for your sacrifice. Thank you for what you've done for our country. And thank you for the opportunity to really be a champion of leadership, inclusion with people that maybe don't have those friends. Like they said, freshmen sitting by themselves at lunch, brought them over to the football team. Imagine when you were a freshman in high school. Just think about it. Imagine when you were a freshman in high school. You don't know anybody except the people you're coming into school with. Maybe you know a couple other upperclassmen, right? I mean, at least for us in high school, we had different groups. And I know this is going to sound funny. You had the jocks, you had the cheerleaders, you had the cowboys, you had the gangsters, and then you had kind of the gothic group. And then you had the group that just, as soon as school was over, they ran off campus because high school sucked. I wasn't one of those people where high school sucked. I had a good time in high school. I got to participate in a lot and I got to meet a lot of people, have fun experiences because of sports. But that's pretty damn daunting and pretty damn cool that an upperclassman, somebody that is a captain of the football team, was doing things for people when nobody was watching. And that was his MO. So again, I was not best friends with Joe. We were in the weight room a lot together. He was a model of exactly what you wanted to be when it came to work ethic, when it came to toughness, when it came to, look, I told you yesterday, Rudy is my sports movie. That's my story. Joe wasn't a big dude, 5'9", defensive lineman, team captain. Are you kidding me? So I wanted to share that about Joe with Memorial Day coming. And if any of you would like to share any stories about somebody that you think about on Memorial Day, please feel free to put them in the chat. You can call the show 916-399-3748. Also, you can hit us up through Restream, which we've got right here. I'll put that in the chat again. I have not gotten to your chat, so we're going to go bottom first, and then we'll work our way back up. Thanks for Sharon G. Okay, I must have missed that one. BJ, thank you for your service and sacrifice. Absolutely, Joe. Absolutely. Elk Grove does a really cool thing where they, in preparation for Memorial Day, across like our freeway overpasses, definitely lining Elk Grove Boulevard as you go to Old Town Elk Grove. They've got remembrances hanging from the light poles, hanging from wherever, with anybody that made that sacrifice for our nation. Sounds like a real stand-up guy, Rip Joe. He was. And again, we all know that guy, right? Every funeral has that guy that like maybe talked to the person one time, but all of a sudden they were best friends, right? That was not Joe and I. But I was around him a lot in the weight room. And in fact, I probably would not have been able to build the relationship with some of the coaches. Specifically, I'm going to go Uncle Rico here. Ed Lombardi. Anybody that's played football in the Sacramento area, you probably know that name. He was the Elk Grove coach for a really long time. Also, Dave Hoskins. Coach Hoskins, what a character. But Lombardi, he was a living legend here in Elk Grove. I mean, I don't know if you remember the 98 year it was the big thing. It was Elk Grove and Grant. We had Lance Briggs on our team, Ryan Dinwiddie on our team, all these guys that were going D1. Grant had the Wizinator, Ontario Smith, and some other guys. But Coach Lombardi resided over all that. In fact, our football team was the last Elk Grove team, I believe, to go undefeated and win the championship. But Elk Grove was a powerhouse back in the day. It was maybe they still are. I don't pay attention too much to high school football anymore. It's like Elk Grove, Grant, Oak Ridge, Nevada Union, and a few others. Jesuit. I'm going to leave some teams out. But if I didn't get pulled into those weight room groups like Joe did, or Joe pulled us in, then I probably did not get as much inside football that I got from Ed Lombardi, from guys like that. Unfortunately, Coach Lombardi left my junior year, which changed a little bit for me. But yes, Joe was a definite hero. Bane, face crying. Yeah, I don't want to make you guys sad, but I want to honor him, because when Memorial Day rolls around, he is the person that comes to my head. And I'm sure some of you have somebody like that. Thank you. Yes, well said, Sea-Dog. Thank you to all who have served and continue to serve. Yes, indeed. Baki hopping in tomorrow. Gonna have the new old EuroLeague champions. All right. EuroLeague coming up. Sea-Dog, let's go. King's Court time. Yes, indeed. Oh boy. Have you guys been listening to some of the chatter? Kyle Kuzma chatter, Brandon Ingram chatter. I've got Kyle Kuzma's contract numbers. They're actually not that bad. If you asked me if one of those two were going to be a king by the time the draft rolls around, Kuzma or Ingram, I think it'd be Kuzma. I think Kuzma fits in a little bit better with what this Kings team wants to do. I get Ingram could spread the floor for Domas, but Ingram is just too much ISO. It's too much ISO. Kuzma can do a little ISO too, but he can also play the team game. And then also Ingram, he gets hurt so much. That's the only thing we got. Yes, John, please, everybody hit the thumbs up. 113 already have checked in or are here watching live on the King's Court on a Friday. Happy to have you here. Ryan in Sacktown. Again, you guys can call the show 916-399-3748. We're not going to be doing a show later tonight, so this will be it till probably Tuesday. However, you will have King's Courts on the weekend. Those will be up tomorrow morning, Sunday morning, and I'll record one for Memorial Day as well. Baki, the only NBA team. Oh, here we go. Let's do it. Welcome into the King's Court. You're on with Rhino.
What's up, Rhino? It's TC.
TC, what's up, my brother? How you doing on this Friday?
Oh, I'm all good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
Yes, sir. Just tapping in, bro. I want to jump in. First and foremost, hey, did you holler at Grant about that? Did you ask him that question?
I did not, TC. I will get around to that.
No kid. Yeah, I don't even trip. It's all good. So first and foremost, though, the Kuzma chatter. I'm giving you. You got to pull a trigger on that deal, and it's about the draft pick. To just take them 2 or 3. I'm doing that to get Kuzma because his contract is nice and he fits with the team. So it's like we can't. It's like this. You know what I'm saying? I want to just. We can't have both. It's either we're either gonna draft with our draft picks or we're gonna trade the draft picks where we can't say, oh, this is so many draft picks for this player. No, it's not. It's trading the draft picks and getting the player. That's the main thing, and getting them in house and going from there. Because we need a piece like a Kuzma or even a BI. But I like, if it's Kuzma or BI, I'm taking Kuzma.
Yeah.
Because of his contract, and it wouldn't take that much. But I just don't want to get caught up in if they want like an extra first round pick. That's like a deal breaker. I'm giving that first round pick up if I'm in just to get the guy. Am I wrong?
No, I don't know what the Kings situation is, what they can give away past. I know the pick this year can't be traded until draft day. So I would give up what they want because you hit the nail on the head. When you look at Kuzma's contract, actually this last season, TC was the most expensive year, and you still got him for a couple years after this. I think the market has kind of spoken, and I think the market's going to have a really hard reset now that the new CBA is going to be going into effect. So I think one first round pick and a couple of players can get it done for Kyle Kuzma.
Period. And I'm pulling the trigger. And that's what I was saying right now, like a first round pick. And even if they're like, you know what, just to sweeten the deal, I mean, depending on our draft capital, I'm giving a future, maybe a 2029 or whatever, man,
Yeah.
just to get the deal done and make it sweet, just to get that guy in. I'm not because he doesn't want to get that away. And he needs to just draft people or get out the way, bro, because we can't stay in limbo. We have to give up something to get somebody. If we're not giving up Keegan like he's untouchable, obviously Domas and Fox, but he's untouchable, then give up the draft picks, bro, and let's keep moving and let's go.
Amen, TC.
That's where I'm at.
Amen. You know what? Teams, executives are smart. They know that the Kings' backs are against the wall. So I bet that they're going to try to squeeze them for every cent that they can get. But when you look at the teams right now that have cap space that might be interested in also getting Kuzma, I don't see a lot of a market there for him. There might be a couple other teams, but obviously there's a few free agents that have been talked about a lot this offseason. So, dude, we're on the same page. Pull the damn trigger, especially if you're not giving up a Keegan. And then here's the important thing, too. If you pull that trigger on a trade this year, TC, as opposed to waiting to develop a draft pick, if you grab somebody at 13, that will probably make the decision on De'Aaron Fox a lot easier, because whether the Kings are going to decide to keep De'Aaron long term or they're going to say, you know what, it's just not going to be a Sacramento thing anymore, that decision is going to have to be made by the end of this coming season.
That was deep right there. Hey, that was the truth right there, Rhino. Thank you for that.
Yeah, of course, TC.
The decision has to be made.
Yeah, TC, I mean, you can't. So Bogey walked, right, for nothing. Malik Monk very well could walk for nothing. And with De'Aaron Fox, he's got 2 years on his contract. So if you go into so let's say he plays the entire season for the Kings this year, next offseason will be probably the last, and you're even pushing it a little bit, but the last chance to get close to fair value for De'Aaron, because then if you push it to the trade deadline of the last year of his contract, he's a rental for half of the year. And I just don't see teams giving up very much, and the Kings would be idiots to do that. And then here's the other part of it, TC. You have now surrounded Fox with pieces. You have Domantas Sabonis. You have Kyle Kuzma. Let's say Malik Monk comes back, right? And if it doesn't work, there's your decision. You still have something to build around. But I hate to push this decision in people's faces, but you got to realize, look at what Cleveland is doing this offseason. Donovan Mitchell still has a full year, but it is a full court press to make that decision to know if he is staying or not.
Period. And listen, that's why it's so big this summer. That's why you got to sign Mike Brown, make a trade, Monty, and do it moving. There's no time. There's no more time to be playing. For those are the dominoes. Monk back and Brown back. But at the same time, no matter if Monk is back or not, bro, we have to make something happen.
Yep.
Seriously, though, the time to play around right now, that's over with, bro. It's time to let's get it together and let's go on. But first and foremost, we need to sign Mike out of dope. Playing with Mike and sending him into that lame duck, you're like just that's playing with it. Get the deal done this summer. That should be breaking news, bro, within like the next, like, you know what? I give him the benefit of the doubt the next month. Let's hear it within the next month. I'm not gonna say let's hear it tomorrow. Let's hear it within the next month, bro. Please. Mike Brown extension. So we stop playing and just go for it. That's all I got right now.
Thanks, TC. Appreciate the call, brother. Have a great long weekend, all right? That That is TC calling on the Kings Court line, 916-399-3748. You guys can follow him up. He makes a great point. It's go time. That's why you hear the Kings have to swing for the fences. And you've heard that from some of the closest insiders to this team, Sam Amick. James Ham came out with a report that ownership may not be happy with Mike Brown. Okay. Can Mike Brown come out with a report that says Mike Brown might not be happy with ownership? Because that would be just as fair. Grant, Jerry, they didn't think it was a huge deal to let Mike Brown in. Technically, next year, it's not a lame duck. Or this season's not technically a lame duck because there are options for that next year. But it's the respect level, right? There is a level of professional respect that goes into this. And you look at what Mike Brown, whether you agree with some of the decisions he made last year or not, and I've been critical of some of those, who else are you going to get other than Mike Brown? I don't know what Vivek is looking at when it comes to, oh, well, maybe we don't want to pay coaches $10 million. It's the going rate for a good coach. You can't say Mike Brown isn't a good coach. He was the coach of the year last year. And look, if Monty McNair at the trade deadline, both trade deadlines that Mike Brown's been a part of, retooled, he gave Mike Brown the ammunition, right? And it didn't work. Okay, you really have not given Mike Brown very much ammunition. In fact, Mike Brown came in with many of the same pieces that were carryovers, or at least that star group. I know Sabonis was here half a season at the deadline with Hallie traded, but this is a dangerous game of chicken to play between your coach, De'Aaron Fox, and now what they're in with Malik Monk, because as good as we thought the Kings are or can be, and that window for a championship, or that window to possibly, cough button. Sorry about that. That window to contend, as close as we are to that window, you are also one card away if you just pull it out the wrong way, where it could all come tumbling down. So good job by TC. We'll get to some of the responses there in a second. I'm sure they will be aplenty. Let's see. BJ's prayers for your son's safe return. Oh, BJ, is your son serving? Okay. Let's see. I think of my son every day. He's serving in the Army, currently in Poland. Looking forward to seeing him back in the USA. That is great stuff, BJ. Please tell him thank you for his service. I can't imagine that is easy. Yeah, TGIF by Bart. Do you remember TGIF on ABC? I was like the perfect age for when all that was going on. You had Step by Step, Family Matters, Full House, and there was one more show. Why can I not remember? Was it Tool Time? Was it the Tim Allen show? Were those all Friday nights? I think Tim Allen was a different night. But TGIF was a real thing. Full House? Oh, my gosh. I used to love Full House. Yeah, Riley, that's right. Dante Stallworth. He was on that team. Let's see. Nevada Universe Grant, A Clash of Cultures. Yeah. I wouldn't as much say cultures. I would say styles. They played completely different, right? Let's see. Oh, Tedora. Hold up, Tedora. You got your own handle now? Your dad gave you social media? What?
Holy moly, Jimbaboli.
Are you kidding me? Good job. Ingram is injury prone, as Grant has said. No thanks. 100% with you. Prayers. Yeah, BJ, absolutely, my man. Yep, absolutely. Tedora, okay, you are lit. You are ready for a Friday. You and my dad talk the best when you need to talk about the Sacramento Kings. Appreciate it. We have some good chats every now and again. Let's see. Bane, I don't know if that's a link or what, but anything with Rocket and Red, I don't know that I'm going to put that up in the chat. Oilers double OT game winner last night. I know. How about that? A lot of people are talking about the hockey playoffs. Edmonton, man. Edmonton, and Mr. Connor McDavid if you need him. Sea-Dog, thoughts on the report out of Cleveland that they fired Bickerstaff because he was too hands-on? I guess coaches aren't allowed or can't coach anymore. Right? We, Grant and I talked about it last night, Sea-Dog. It's insane. Look, I get that the power has shifted a little bit to the players. I don't got a problem with that. But coaches got to coach. And we've explained the difference between coaching your kids' rec league and coaching the NBA. It's more managing. Let's put it this way. In college, the coach is telling you what to do. Okay? High school, coach is telling you what to do. Now, there's some gray area. They might give you a little bit of latitude. You get to the pros, it's a collaboration. These guys are professional basketball players. So it's not one of those things where, you know, you can't be completely hands off, but you're not all the way hands on. And as for that report, here's what's happening. Owners, to me, think the coach is becoming less and less important to the game of basketball. The Bucks getting rid of Mike Budenholzer the year after winning a championship when Giannis went down in the first round of the playoffs? What are we doing? Look, I'm not a Lakers guy. I'm not a Darvin Ham guy. Darvin didn't do a bad job. I mean, dealing with LeBron James, I mean, that has got to be a nightmare. It's got to be just a straight up nightmare. Look at how much things have kind of changed around here since Rich Paul started repping some of your Kings. You know, he's part of the whole clutch thing. But Bickerstaff, look, I know, Sea-Dog, you know this. He is widely respected around the league. You know, his dad was an excellent coach as well. It seems to me they are playing to the taste of Donovan Mitchell and or the core of that team. So I don't know what you want. Is it Goldilocks where the porridge is too hot, too cold, just right? Define what just right is these days for a coach in the NBA. What are they supposed to do? What are they not supposed to do? Because for me, it's refreshing, very refreshing to see Mike Brown pull a guy out. I don't care if it's Davion Mitchell or if it's De'Aaron Fox. Mike would pull those guys over to the spot on the floor during a timeout where a mistake happened, and he'd coach them up. You remember the play where Keegan, he did it. He pulled him over. He coaches him up. The next trip down the court, Keegan is in the right spot and takes a charge. Pretty crazy. Romanowski, Vivek wants Mark Jackson. Ugh.
I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Please no. Please no. Please. When Mark was coaching the Warriors, you realize he was not there full time. You know, he was traveling on the weekends, going back home. He did not move his family to the Bay Area. I'm not a fan of Mark Jackson as a coach. I'm just not. I think he's a great broadcaster. Coach, no, thank you. Appreciate the kind words again, to Dora. Agree, Condog. Hands on. That's a coach's job. Yes, indeed. Full House, right? Full House. What did you think of Fuller House, the sequel on Netflix? I was always, were you guys a DJ or a Stephanie? I think her name was Stephanie in the show, right? Jodie Sweden. I was team Stephanie. I was never team DJ, but then Fuller House came out. Team DJ all day. Let's see. Riley, unanimous coach of the year. Exactly. That was Mike Brown. Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Yes. That was a great show. The teacher who also had played in the NBA. I loved that one. Good pull, Romanowski. Really good pull. Mark, what are the Kings giving up for Kuzma? If I'm Washington, I want Keegan to start, but not much left on Sac roster. Well, it depends what direction Washington's going. That's the big question. I think there's some value there for a guy like a Harrison Barnes, especially if Washington's going to go into a rebuild. And I'm not saying they are, but the price is okay. You know he's going to play a lot of games. You know he's going to be steady. And look, Harrison hasn't really gotten the chance to show out too much here in Sacramento. Harrison was a big part to that Mavericks championship. A big part. Don't forget that. As I said, you can hit up the show via Restream or the telephone line. I know I'm in for a good conversation right now. Bring in our boy Dirk. What's up?
What's up, man? Happy Friday.
What's going on?
I'm here to talk Kyle Kuzma.
Do it.
Okay, so I've been like, since I heard this, I've been interested in Kuzma since we that original conversation, which what was last year, where we were seeing who would be a good fit. So, do you feel that Mike Brown could maximize Kuzma's ability to play defense?
It's a great question. I don't know if he could maximize, but I think there's a lot you could do with Kuzma's length defensively. You could put him in some different positions. I think he could also switch with some of the smaller guys if needed with certain teams.
Well, I would say that that's a strength of Mike Brown, probably getting the most out of a guy defensively.
For sure.
So I would say if Kyle Kuzma, who is not rated highly as a defender, but people not poorly either, I would say, I was trying to gather opinions on him lately. Like the Wizards subreddit was talking about his performance this season, and most of them were saying a B. Like they felt like he performed at a B level. Some people lower, no one gave him an A. So, but generally it's slightly favorable of him and his performance in that lead role. Many people identifying him as a ideal third best scorer on the team. And the more I evaluate, the more I think about it, the more I like the fit. He's a great rebounder for his size. So what does that do for this team? If we're playing 4 out, Sabonis, maybe in the high post trying to get rebounds, that opens the door for additional 3-point shots and additional second chance points opportunities if him and Sabonis can work together on the block to get additional rebounds. Or that gives the idea that maybe Sabonis could shoot more threes, which I like. I don't know. How would you feel about Sabonis taking more 3-point attempts?
I'm all for it. I don't think I want him to go full De'Aaron Fox and kind of change his entire game around the 3 ball, but it keeps the defense in check. Sabonis can make the shot once in a while. And then also it opens up the passing lanes because you've got to come out and now guard him a little bit.
Yeah, I see the DHO with, 2 guys collapsing on the board. So from both sides who are plus rebounders for their position, not at both the 4 and 5. And I really like that premise. Now, again, there's no shot blocking still from the guard position. I'd say Keegan's a pretty decent shot blocker too. He gets averages maybe about 1 a game.
Foxy not too bad either.
Yeah, and just that off ball. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by this. And people were asking like what he would be worth. Well, last year he was not worth 2 first-round picks.
No.
So would you trade for him for Harrison Barnes and the 13?
Yes, absolutely. In a heartbeat. Would you?
Yeah, but the question is, could you get him for less? Like, what if it was you keep Harrison Barnes? Would you give up Trey Lyles, Vezenkov? You need a little bit more contract filler, but Vezenkov, maybe Duarte. I think Duarte is the right fit to make that about the 20 mil roughly. And you have more flexibility on how much money you need to take on. I don't know what that exact number is.
Yeah. Trey Lyles, I would want to hang on to for the simple fact of we don't know what the backup center role is going to look like with this Kings team yet. Alex Len, 1-year deal. McGee, I believe he was a 1-year. Let me pull it up right now.
Mark says salaries have to match. Mark, my understanding for the new CBA is it doesn't have to be as close as it used to have to be.
That is correct.
So you have more flexibility to take on more money as part of this.
They've reclassified certain ways that you can take on more money depending on where you're at with what they call the aprons, which are the penalties of being over the cap.
So I'm just, one thing I'm trying to figure out is what the market for Kuzma would be. That who would the Kings be competing with? Because if you could get him for a first and second rounder, 2 picks, that might be enough with salary filler. Because why does Washington do this? They need a full reset. They're not going to go anywhere. They're really unhappy with where they're at, as they should be.
Yep.
So they're going to try to get as many assets as they can. So it's really about who are the Kings competing with in that area. Now, I haven't seen much of his game except against the Kings. And the reputation of being a shot chucker and a black hole is there. But that also could be, hey, you're the number one guy now, or you're basically, once Jordan Poole fell off, you are the number one guy, so you need to do number one guy things. Man, I really like that idea. I think I've heard it said the Kings don't get any worse in that situation, which I agree with.
No.
It's just a matter of if Monk leaves, that's quite a drastic different look, but Kyle Kuzma has sort of played that primary spot. I guess he's somewhat of a playmaker. So could you fill most of what Malik does by committee outside of the guard position? That is, I think, a way I haven't been looking at this before.
Well, also throw this into the way you look at it, Dirk. More production from your starting lineup. I mean, one of the reasons we relied on Malik so much was the starting lineup sometimes had guys that had 2 points, no points, 1 rebound. So there was more pressure for Malik to come in and really pick up the offense. In terms of who you might be competing against for Kuzma, the first team that I have heard that comes to mind is the San Antonio Spurs. They've got 2 picks in the top 8. They've got Wemby. They're younger, they're building. Kuzma would look really nice with San Antonio, and they've got the money to pay him. Portland is another team that I have heard could be interested. You match up Jeremy Grant with Kuzma and Scoot Henderson. But here's the thing about Kuzma. You said, like, on the subreddits, a lot of Wizards fans gave him a B. When was the last time Kuzma played basketball that mattered? So if he's getting a B playing for a team that's really not that good, I know he was with LA for a while, but what's he going to do with a team that, I mean, you know how it is. It's contagious when you're spreading the ball, you're playing good basketball. It elevates everybody's game, and that goes the same for the defensive side of the ball.
I would reflect that question back to you 2 years ago. When has De'Aaron Fox played basketball that mattered? So, it's Kuzma. I mean, Fox wasn't playing with talent that could get you to a place. So what talent did Kuzma have? He had Brandon Ingram, a younger Brandon Ingram, who I don't think, from my recollection, was not the player he was
completely
today.
Different. Yeah, 100% right.
And so once the Lakers reset, you got these guys finding their identities elsewhere as they kind of established themselves without guys like LeBron. Like, who could they be? So I think the timing is right for a little renaissance with Kuzma if he can be a winning player. It's a risk, I think, worth taking, unless there's some other more ideal deal. San Antonio's interesting because, that opens Wemby up. If you have a rebounding power forward, which is kind of a rarity now, a guy that's more versatile, can play a lot of positions, that probably works well with a unicorn like Wemby. But Portland, I don't think that's happening at all. Portland needs to ditch contracts to get under the luxury tax for that underperforming squad. So I'm not worried about them. And I think if they start trading, the Kings should probably try to deal with them, and that would be multiple players, I think. With
Well, the problem is I'm not ready to get into bed with Jeremy Grant at the number that he's signed at, and I think Jeremy Grant could be part of a deal with Kuzma if they do want to ditch salary a little bit, because I know Jeremy Grant would be a good fit here, but I believe he's making north of 20, 30. North of 30. I was gonna say 29 mil.
Yeah, and he's gonna. I mean, if they're in a go nowhere franchise right now. They're just trying to figure out a place to go. These guys have been in Portland a bit underperforming, but so would you take, let's say money's not an object. Do you take Ingram? Is Ingram preferable to Kuzma in your eyes?
No, I'm taking Kuzma all day over Ingram.
Wow. Okay. So yeah, I think we need to go that route. I think that's the deal.
Yeah. Ingram, he played more this season, but he's injury prone. Look at his body style too. That is a tough body style to be playing a run and gun offense like the Kings want to play, or even if you want to play physical. Brandon Ingram is not physical. He does not have a lot of dog in him. Kyle Kuzma does. Kyle will mix it up with you. So I think there's a reason the Kings you've heard Kuzma so much. They've tried to target him. I think the price was too steep, and now I guess the Kings are just in that position, Dirk, where it's like, okay, our team's going to really try to squeeze us because they know we've got to swing for the fences, or can they get a fair deal done? And to answer the question, Bane, next year Harrison's going to be making $18 million. Kuzma will be making next year, he is at $23 million, $23.5.
Yeah, and his contract decreases all the way, I think, his final year down to something like $19 million. So it's a desirable contract. It becomes more
really
tradable. Yeah. He puts you in a really strong position to trade with other teams if it doesn't work out.
Yep.
Because the contract decreases, which is, I love that structure. I don't know how that works on guys' motivation. Like, hey, I'm worth $3 million more this year. Do they really have a desire to perform? But that's more psychological, if anything. So
sure. I think too, the amount of time that you have Kuzma, it's not like you got to worry about, trying to re-sign him a year after he comes to Sacramento. If he does, you've got him, say he comes this offseason, you got him all the way through 26, 27. That's a damn good window for the Kings.
And it's a little bit of Keegan insurance in my mind. So maybe
yes, great point.
Maybe Keegan doesn't step into this role we all, and many of us envision for him. Now he enters, or whenever he enters an offseason, I don't know if it would be next year, after next year, the year after, where you have to make big financial decisions on what you would offer Keegan. Because he still command a big value this year, as he performed this year, just on that premise of some future potential.
So next year, or this coming year, Keegan's going to make 8.8. Then the Kings, I believe they've already picked up the option, or if they haven't, they will do it as soon as they can. That's at 11.1, and then in 26, 27, Keegan can test the market, but the Kings can match any offers that are made to Keegan.
All right, so it's Kuzma, everybody.
I think it's Kuzma. And think about this, too. I think Kuzma could learn a lot, or Keegan could learn a lot playing aside a Kyle Kuzma. I do.
Well, I always thought if Keegan picked up on Harrison Barnes' Euro step, you would have a really even better player. But that hasn't happened, He hasn't developed the Euro. It's been 2 years,
Yeah.
But if he could pick up that aspect of Harrison Barnes, which is, I think we should have invested more plays into him last year. But anyway, I know my calls can go long, so
it's all good. We have good conversations, man. You take as much time as you want. You got any plans for the holiday weekend?
Landscaping and stuff. Now I got to try to find footage of Kyle Kuzma to get a more educated opinion about him. But we'll go over some highlights. Figure out how he would fit, because I want us to have not only more scoring options but easy buckets, right? And so he scores an ISO based on just what the shallow opinion I formulated of him based on what I've seen. So I'm always, and I meant to like ask Jerry Reynolds a bit about this. I was late to that conversation, but one of the I'm not one to get nostalgic about the 2002 team, right? But I always remember Doug Christie, Peja Stojakovic kind of interchangeably at the high block. One of them somehow gets down low and they get a bullet pass to an easy layup. I mean, they're there.
Yeah.
And how does that play develop? And is that feasible in this version of the NBA? Because I don't see any guys do that play. I do see Joker to Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon catches it midair to a layup, like that kind of speed, but not what Peja and Doug Christie were doing. I don't know if you would call that high-low, but
no, actually, we talked about this when Jerry was on the Kings. I asked him about Pete Carril, coachy. The Kings would run at times a modified Princeton offense. In the Princeton offense, you only bring, or in the typical offense that the Kings were running, you would only bring one big up, like a Chris Webber to the high post. Now the Kings they were bringing up two guys. And so the defenders had to kind of decide which way they thought the action was going to go. So I don't think it's feasible to bring two guys up. The spacing now in the NBA, it just doesn't work. I mean, maybe Minnesota could do it because of the personnel they have, but I don't see it with the Kings working out. But high-low, it's there all day, Dirk, for the Kings. And with Kuzma, I feel like the isolation is because of the teams or his teammates that he's had around him. I think you put Kuzma into a situation where he's got guys moving the ball. He can score any way you want. He can cut. He's athletic. He can play above the rim. He's the guy to me. I would have no qualms about having him on this roster.
Yeah, and for me, it's would you be excited about it? I'm definitely
100%.
Yeah, and it's just if it doesn't work well hypothetically in Washington, like Kuzma and Poole are not a duo. If you ask me who is like probably the closest to Jordan Poole, I'd say probably Malik Monk. They're a little bit similar style-wise, right?
Yeah.
So Monk's probably more of a creator than Poole is an individual scorer. And I think it could work. No matter. I'm just trying to see, is this the missing piece? And the team is definitely more interesting and dangerous. So now I'm going to be focused on that for the next 3 months.
I love your research and how you do this. I'm going to learn more about that. Hey, Dirk, thanks for the call, brother.
Talk to you later. Have a good weekend.
Always making it better. Yep, you as well. Enjoy the landscaping. We got a lot of calls to get to. Moss, Condog. Excuse me, Corn Dog. I see you, but oh boy, is this guy gonna want to talk Portland basketball? Is this guy gonna even have a microphone that works? I mean, I don't even know. Let's go to let's ask the chat really quick. Should I even try to bring Haunted Horse up here on camera with me? Because last time I touted him as this audio engineer and audio wizard, and he didn't even have a working microphone. So if he can't even get his mic to work, then how's he going to be talking about basketball? Haunted Horse. What is a haunted horse? Now, look, not only is he on hold, he is messaging the show. What's everybody saying? Okay, put him on. Peter says yes. All right. You know what, Haunted Horse? I'm doing it for the people, not doing it for you. What's up, dude?
I got my taco hat on that you bought me for my birthday. What is up? Is my microphone working?
Your microphone works perfectly.
Yes. So I'm taking over this time slot every Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Except, we are going to the beach next Friday, so that there's an asterisk. I don't know if I'm going to get in here next Friday, but yeah, I'm taking it over this second week in a row. What's up, everyone? How's it going, Sacktown? My hometown that I grew up until my dad ripped me up to Oregon in 6th grade.
Headless horse.
There you go. Well, I got one of those.
Looking good, horsey. Dude, you have become like a novelty. Look at this, off the clock with Haunted Horse. What is going on, dude? You're popping the chat.
I've got a question. What is worse? What is worse? Okay, for the chat, what is worse? Me being a Portland Trailblazers fan, because when I moved up here, I needed to have a team to root for, and I live outside of Portland in Hillsboro. Or this guy, am I aiming the right way?
You are.
This guy being a Seattle Seahawks fan. I say that's worse.
No, it's not.
No, because everyone in Sacktown's either Raiders or Niners, not Seahawks.
Dude, first off, you have a very small minute of 49ers or group of Niners fans here that are actually real Niners fans. Like, it's a real thing. The car flags come out. Everything comes out when the Niners, right around, I don't know, say November, December. And then you see all these people that have never been wearing Niners stuff before. And it's all brand new stuff because it's stuff from this year. So,
yeah, right. I was a Niner fan before we had a single championship. I was a Niner fan in 70, I think. So it was around 76, 77. I'm not sure. But all my friends in the neighborhood, when I grew up in Sacktown, were Raiders fans. Because why? Because the Raiders were good then in the 70s. It was the Raiders and the Steelers, and they were always battling it out. So everybody was Raiders. And because I like to go counter to the crowd, I'm like, I'm going to root for the 49ers. And horrible. They played at Kezar and they were horrible. And then this guy comes along and they hired this guy named Bill Walsh. And then OJ killed him.
And then OJ killed him. Yeah.
If you're a clone, excuse me.
Yeah.
Remember when you played for the 49ers?
Did you kill OJ?
Did you kill Bill Walsh?
For Bill Walsh.
Anyway, and then they drafted this quarterback out of Notre Dame named Joe Montana, and because I think they had DeBerg before him. Anyway, yeah, and then they got good, and then the bandwagon began. Anyway, I rooted for them when they were horrible, so I'm just saying. And look, it is what it is. It is what it is. King Jim boys.
Hey, see, this is my point. You have to explain yourself as a Niners fan. You're like, look, I rooted for them before they were bad. See, I'm a real Niners fan because there's so many Niners fans that aren't.
Well, I'll tell you, in the 80s, everybody, because I lived in Oregon then. Everybody, bandwagon. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? No, I'm not. But, you know, what are you going to do? Everyone in school, bandwagon. Oh, yeah. No, I saw a horrible, crappy product. And it was always Raider games on the television in Sacramento. I mean, it was Raiders everywhere. It was a Raider town, which makes sense. They're closer, technically. They're a little closer.
You know what I respect about Raider fan? Good or bad,
yes,
Raider fan is always the same. Always the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, I went through a Niner season where we won one game. I went through the Nolan coach and the Alex Smith #1 pick bust and all that crap. And I stayed loyal to my team. I did not hop off. So
yeah,
we've had some bad years recently, but 10 years ago, they're garbage.
You guys just can't finish, man.
I know.
You guys try to stack the deck, you buy talent, and you just can't get it done.
Well, I don't like playing Kansas City. That sucks. They're good.
I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. You guys would have won the Super Bowl the year that Purdy got hurt. I truly believe that you guys probably would have won the Super Bowl that year.
That was brutal. Yeah, and then we lost to the Ravens with Kaepernick quarterbacking, and we were close. We almost closed that deal. Almost.
I was waiting for you to go conspiracy theory guy on me. They turned the lights out on purpose. Cupid.
Yeah, Cupid. I'm an Oregon Ducks fan too, and we played Tennessee and we were down like 3 scores, and the Lightning knocked the power out, and then we came back and won that game. So power outages aren't always bad for my teams, but yeah, that was weird. Yeah.
So dial us in really quick. I know you don't pay attention a ton to the Blazers.
Talk about Kevin Duckworth. Boy, I remember those Blazer teams.
Yeah, awesome. So I remember Duckworth too. Dial me in. What's the narrative in Blazerland right now about this team?
We're rebuilding. No expectations. I was one of the few people that wanted to trade Dame because we were not going to win a ring, and I didn't want him to be part of a rebuild. So we got. I mean, that was a good trade. We got a lot of assets there, and so we've got a lot of young kids, and we've got to they've got to learn, and we're fine with it. Towards the end of the season, there were a lot of empty seats in Blazerland, but I like how you just give me that's scary.
I'm giving you the screen.
No, I know that's terrifying. Look at my big ass face on this monitor. Anyway,
you stream for a living. You shouldn't be scared to see.
You know what? It's more nerve wracking being on your show.
Why?
Because if I screw it up, I screw up your show. If I'm on my show, everyone knows I screw up my show, so it's no big deal. But it's pressure. Like, what happens if like half your audience leaves because of my big face on your screen?
Dude, you when you come up, the people wanted you, man. They're like, bring him up.
That's like when you went on Rome. Everyone's like, yeah, let Ryan on, and then you went on, and everyone's like, oh, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, we have a complicated relationship.
You do. Dysfunctional.
We have a complicated relationship.
Anyway, you made the week that was. Well, someone insulting you made the week that was today. So
lovely.
Yeah, there you go. So I heard Ryan in Socktown in the week that was. Some.
He called me out. Obviously, Rome knows that I have a son. And he knows that I'm married.
I know. Oh,
we
where's my
these
drop?
Talks.
Oh, where's my drop?
And
you have a son. That's Yeah, I won't do it on your show.
Yeah, and then he goes, well, I'm not going to drop it, but he goes into a little rant about, Ryan, you've had with a girl?
Yeah.
You procreated,
Ryan? Yeah, you had a kid?
What?
That means you've had sex? What?
Knucklehead.
Getting to 66 Kimball, even Montana went to Kansas City. That was hard for me when we let Montana go, because we had Steve Young sitting there, and the guy was like, I'm not going to sit here my entire career waiting for my turn. And I think we gave Montana, we allowed him to leave. I think we got a second round pick just as a way to make the trade. And I was a Kansas City Chiefs fan briefly. Now, if they played the Niners, I'm Niners. I'm not rooting for Joe Montana to beat my team, but I had for a brief time, I pulled a Tyler, which is a friend of ours. I had a AFC team that I was rooting for, because Joe Montana is great. And not to humble brag, but I got to meet him 3 times at fan events. It's not like, and he's just a cool dude. I mean, the Jim Boys is the best. I'm not going to lie.
I don't know about this. Are you paying people in my chat to put nice things in here about you?
I'm not.
I mean,
I paid them last time. Maybe they figured since they got paid last time, I'll pay them again.
Yeah. So what's the update on the Jim Boys sponsorship?
We're going to wait until your basketball. I want to wait till your season starts ramping up, and then I got to get my free tacos. I'm still trying to find the guy. Or the man or woman who's vice president.
They totally ghosted you. Watch. Right? We used to be an S Corp, us Jim Boys, and now that we're an LLC, your agreement no longer is in place.
I don't think you can do that. I think all those agreements have to follow the new company. So yes, look, they're not. I haven't reached out to him since I emailed the guy that email's address was 10 years old. So I'll get on it. I have a note in my stack of notes.
This guy in his notes.
That
you love your notes,
boys. What that will be a thing, because it's I'm going to be down there in 6, 7, 8 weeks, somewhere in there. So I will let the audience know you will let them know, because you and I are gonna go there together. Maybe
when you're in town, we could rap together live in studio.
There, yeah, absolutely. Wheels, yeah. Brian Wheeler, he's talking about the. What's cool is Napier had some good Brian Wheeler stories when he was talking about, and I think Grant Napier, I think his first ever game was in Portland. Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. So I listen to all that stuff.
Wheels went up and greeted him, made him feel welcome.
Yes.
Yep, absolutely.
Yes. So anyway,
good stuff.
The guy that calls the Blazers now, this is probably boring to your audience unless they're clones. Chad in Portland's co-host now calls for the Blazers.
Oh, does he really?
Yeah, Chad in Portland. He's a clone as well.
Chad's
Jim Rome clone. So anyway,
you got any plans for the long weekend?
I'm gonna do a little work on our shows and t-shirts because I make t-shirts, and we're not doing anything. We're doing the beach next weekend, so we're
There you
gonna
go.
avoid the like, man, there's motorhomes everywhere right now. I mean, it started yesterday, just motorhomes, campers, everything. So we're going to the beach next weekend when, you know, we're not competing with the masses.
Yeah. Okay. So really quick, I'm going to ask you a question, and then I'll let Haunted Horse tell you all this. I'll give him the full screen in a second. We have a place in Strawberry. Our family does. And my wife just hit me with 10 minutes before I started the show. Hey, you want to go to the cabin this weekend? And I'm like, are you insane? I'm like,
You're
no.
gonna go 10 miles an hour up
No,
highway. Is it 50?
Not. Yeah, Highway 50.
Right? Yeah.
And she's like, well, I already talked to your mom about it. So look, she worked the back end.
You.
She worked the back end because we haven't seen my
Oh,
parents in
wow.
a couple of weeks. So she has officially put me in a corner. So, okay,
Oh, wow.
two things, because I'm going to start asking everybody this. Moss, Corn Dog, coming to you in just 1 second. First question is, because yesterday we were talking about the greatest movies of all time. We're going to put a bracket together. But at the start of the show, I said we're going to separate the men from the boys and the women from the girls. So I'm going to put you on the spot. I'll do mine in a little bit.
Right.
What is the one movie that you absolutely love, but you're embarrassed to tell people that you
embarrassed?
What is it?
Oh, I mean, I probably got a really good one, but I'd have to think about it. See, that's on the spot. I'm trying to think of something that would be embarrassing. Hold on. Give me a couple seconds. I'm trying to go into my romantic bag. That would be, you know what? Wells would answer this really easily. Our friend Wells, he'd be like, oh, hey, I mean, look, it's funny because Wells likes this movie too. Titanic's a good movie. And I mean, it's romantic and everything, but I called Titanic the perfect movie because there's something for guys. There's like fighting and there's like action. There's the romance story for ladies. And then there's this historical thing for older people that want to follow the historical. That's one of the perfect movies. I saw that 9 times in the theater.
Titanic. You saw Titanic 9 times in the theater?
Yeah. It was good.
That means you spent like $100.
Well, back then it was like $5 for a ticket, or $5.50 or whatever. Yeah.
You must have really
and I don't do that. I don't go see movies multiple times in the theater.
Interesting.
But that was one of those movies I'm like, you know what? Once it leaves the theaters, 9 different dates. There's certain movies that are so big that the television's not going to do them justice. And that was before, you know, the high def TVs and all that stuff. So if you were renting a video, it was the pan and scan, where it was the boxy television and they would pan it back and forth to try to, it was horrible.
Oh boy. Okay. So we're getting questions. Dennis is new to the channel.
Everyone's giving me crap about that.
I'm gonna put you full screen. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Tell people where they can find you. Tell them what you do. The floor is yours, Mr. Titanic.
They don't want to find me now that I saw Titanic 9 times in the theater. They want to hide from me. Anyway, Hollywood Rejects, all one word, hollywoodrejects.com. That's my website. You'll find content of all my stuff. I do make t-shirts as a side hustle. And I answered this in the chat. What's my Twitter handle? It's Haunted00Horse on X. If you follow me, you're going to see a lot of Jim Rome tweets between the hours of 9 p.m. Pacific and noon Pacific, because I do at Jim Rome 5-6 times a day. And every once in a while they get through and get read. But Hollywood Rejects is where you find all my stuff. And you know what? If you go there, here's the secret. If you go there and look on the left-hand side links, you will see a link to Ryan and I's show, and he's embarrassed about it. And you'll watch him be embarrassed because I embarrass him nightly on that show. You never know what's coming out of my pie hole. And when it does, you're like, oh,
yeah.
And emoji GIFs on there that you hate. Yeah. The GIF with the stuff. And yeah, you hate that. And yeah, I embarrass you a lot. And
You
you're a
know,
good sport about it.
I'm all for the show. Sorry, on my screen, I've got like a little thing. I'm all for the show, but yeah, it's the gifts, it's these stories, and it's a fun show. It's a different show though,
Yes.
and it's not a show you want to watch with your kids. Let's just put it.
Yeah,
that way.
yeah,
It's
it is.
nothing,
We
It's
play
nothing
disclaimers.
terrible, but we just
It's
you know we,
mature.
yeah, it's more of a mature audience. We rap about weird news, stuff that's going on the Rome show,
Yeah.
whatever it may be.
I look for news stories about human interest types things and yeah, different. I mean, yeah. So it's
you bring up a really good point. I'm glad you said that about the tweets, because like you'll see my Twitter page, and I've really kind of dropped down on how much I'm tweeting at Rome now. But you'll see goofy stuff there, and that's exactly what it is. It's a Rome thing. If you know the show, then you'll get it. If you don't know the Rome show, then you're probably like, why is this dude talking about Bakersfield?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. 3 hours. So it's that 3 hour window where it's Rome stuff. And then the rest of the time, it's whatever I'm interested in, whatever you're interested in, King stuff and everything else. But that 3 hours, you will see, at Jim Rome, and you'll see different things being tweeted at the show. And look, we get read a lot, so it's fun when you're hearing your tweet get read. So anyway,
you gotta.
All right, Corn Dog is in the
host.
wings. I got to get out of here because I'm waiting to hear from Corn Dog.
You're waiting to hear from Corn Dog.
I heard him twice yesterday. He was on twice.
I know. He came twice. He brought it.
Dude,
so we're gonna. Yeah, you know what? Why don't you transition Corn Dog in?
All right, give me 2 seconds. What was the question, real quick? On the TV shows, I just got home and you guys were talking about Mr. Cooper or whatever.
All the shows that were on TGIF Friday. It was Full House,
TGIF
Family Matters,
Friday.
Step by Step. Well, it might have been Hanging with Mr. Cooper, the fourth one. I think
okay. Friday. Okay, got it. Yeah, more family oriented because most of the older people or whatever are going out clubbing and everything else. So it was a family. Yeah, no, that was good. Good. All right,
brother.
So what am I doing? I'm introducing Corn Dog.
Yes, you're bringing in the corn.
Oh, look at this dude! Woo! Corn Dog's here. Best name ever. I am jealous that I'm not Corn Dog. Freaking awesome. What's up, dude?
What's up, Haunted Horse?
Yeah.
Oh, the first.
You got Corn Dog. I should have thought of that first. Damn it. Yes. And Jim, are you a fan of Jim Boy's Tacos?
I love Jim Boy's. Oh, anytime I'm in the Sac area, I have to have it.
Love it. I love it too.
Jim. We had one in Stockton, and no one went to it but like me, so it closed down.
Let's make it a party.
Look at this.
Mr. Moss,
too. 3-day weekend party.
What's up, guys?
What's up, gentlemen?
What's up?
Yeah. I want my Jim Boy's Tacos back in Stockton. I have to go all the way to Sac to get it.
Dude, I've got to go 8 hours. So there's no complaining. And they used to have one in Redding, California, and it closed. So I got to go all the way to Sacramento to get Jim Boy's.
Yeah, that Tahoe burrito is fire. If anyone
I have not had that yet.
It is fire.
What's your favorite thing from Jim Boy's again?
Later.
Later.
They got that 70 cents taco right now too. I think you spend like $5, you get a taco for like 70 cents.
Oh, yes, they've got the 70-cent taco.
Yeah,
okay,
that's a
I've
pretty good
I've got both of you up here because I'm going to ask you the same question first, and then Ross, I'll put you back in the chat so we can talk basketball.
No worries.
So, what is the movie that you are most like you love, but you're super embarrassed to tell anybody about?
You go first. Okay, you want me to go first?
You guys go.
It actually is Titanic, and I've only watched it 2 times straight through, no breaks, just on the couch, emotional as hell, praying that they survive. He survives, right?
Yeah.
Talk about a roller coaster type movie, highs and lows. It kind of takes you there, but I think that would be the one. Titanic. When they're running through the ship, she paints them. It's just it's crazy, man. So that's between us, okay? Like,
that's
can't nobody know about that.
Nobody knows about it. All right, Corn Dog, what's your Corn Dog, yours is Blades of Glory. I already know the answer.
What?
You should be embarrassed of that one. No, I'm just kidding. What is it, Corn Dog?
I guess it's probably just because I'm a little younger, but I love High School Musical.
Okay.
I love it.
High School Musical it is.
it was just, everywhere when you were a kid, man. It was just all over Disney, man. It was the thing for Disney at that time, because it was before they had Marvel and Star Wars and all that, and it was like right after they finished their Disney Renaissance, after Lion King, Mulan, Hercules, Tarzan, all that. It was that little like dark area. I mean, they had Pirates of the Caribbean starting, but that was about it.
All right, I love it, Moss. We're gonna wrap about hoops in 1 second. Hang on for me.
No worries, man. Take your time, buddy. Take your time.
Brother. Corn Dog, what it do? Well, happy Friday.
Yeah. So I guess everyone's got to wish me luck Monday, because we're running a little Costco Memorial Day basketball tournament.
Oh, are you really? Where are you guys doing it at?
Literally a church like 5 minutes from my house.
Okay, cool.
So I'm the home player.
Is it, what, where do you live again? You're in Stockton, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's off of I-5, there's a church that has like an outdoor court that has really nice hoops.
Oh,
that's
the north side. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I see that all the time.
It's in between Hammer and 8 Mile. I know that one. But ours is this one's gonna be off like Country Club. I've been there before. It's cool.
Sweet. Very good. All right. Well, really quick, let me give the audience, you know what? You guys are going to hate on me for this. You can make fun of me all you want, but I'm going to step up. I'm going to be a man. A walk to remember. A walk to remember is it runs the Jimmy V gamut. It really does. It's like, laugh, cry, real life, cancer, good music. All day, give me a walk to remember. I don't know, maybe some Reese's cups, and close all the windows, blackout windows, so nobody sees me watching it. I like that one a lot.
You know what? That's not a bad one. A walk to remember. That's not a bad one.
Not too shabby at all. Yeah. I also, honorable mention. This is one that I am not. That's funny. Haunted Horse almost went that way too. So I'm not. This one's not embarrassing. I love Silver Linings Playbook too.
Silver Linings is a great movie.
A great movie.
That is a thing. Yeah, that is a great movie.
Yep, for sure. So what's up today, buddy? What are we rapping about?
Man, I think I was the head of the whole Costco building today.
Really?
I was in like 4 different departments.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and mind you, we're not like the store where it's just one, but we're a whole campus where we have the wet building, we have guard station, we have the dry building. So I was all over. We have we actually have one of the few with the e-commerce too. I was literally walking a whole almost college campus today.
There you go, dude. There you go.
Got steps in.
Good for you. Good for you. Got any predictions for the game tonight?
You know what? I have Dallas, Boston, and I think Minnesota's gonna tie this one up. But
yep,
I'm gonna roll Dallas in 6.
Dallas in 6. All right. Hey, you know what? They're coming together. Bane. That is. I was waiting for that one to come up. I've seen it once. I'm not like Haunted Horse 9 times in the theater, but I think it was a pretty good one too. I do remember that.
You know what? Agree. Haunted Horse. Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh boy, I've got a Jennifer Lawrence story. Anyways, we'll talk about that some other time. You know what, Dallas, if they get this one, I don't think the series is over, but I told people Dallas's brand of basketball translated to the postseason. I was saying that at the end of the year, and damn it, it is. And I don't know, Boston, the one thing that I will say, Boston is not who we think Boston is right now. They're not. They are ripe for the picking.
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, they could be. I don't know what's going on with Hallie right now.
Still up in the air with the hamstring. Yeah. So I would guess. So he missed 10 games in the regular season, same hamstring. And there's certain injuries that everybody's body is different, but usually 10 games during an NBA season, which will probably equate to about, maybe just under a month. That's not enough for a hamstring. That's something that's got to have been lingering. And yeah. Adam. You have a highlight reel too, Adam? I bet you do. Anyways, so yeah, we'll see what happens, but I just think it's going to be an uphill battle without Hallie. Even with Hallie, it's going to be an uphill battle.
So I saw this post, I can't remember where, but they said it was about Wade and Kyrie, and it's since we were talking about Wade over KD the other day. It said where does Kyrie end up over Wade if he wins another title? And I was like, I wouldn't put him above Wade yet, but I would put him right at where I'd put KD if Kyrie does get a second title. About the same, maybe just a notch under KD because he wasn't the main guy, but like I'd put him like right in that ballpark.
I haven't given it a lot of thought, but I'm not like right off the top. I'm not like no way. Yeah.
I wouldn't put him above Wade just because Wade was just so much of a better leader and reliable to the franchise that draft. I also put a lot of stock into winning for the franchise that drafted you because that they got the value out of that, right? Like the franchise. Oh, hey, look, we drafted the greatest player of all time, but he won it for 2 other teams or whatever.
Yeah,
I put a lot of stock into that actually,
for sure,
because it makes them a valuable draft pick.
Yeah, and Sea-Dog's putting it in right there. We had that conversation. Yep. Was it last night or the night before? Last night. So I was going to carry that one over to today because you brought up a good point with Grant. And then we were talking about Tatum because Bahaki had asked a question that Grant didn't really understand. Then Grant understood it. And then the question became, if you started a franchise today, and everybody that's in the NBA right now is eligible to be drafted, would Jason Tatum be in the top 5? We're going to save that big conversation for another day after this weekend, but everybody think about that one because he's fringe. Both Grant and I were like, definitely top 10, but top 5, I don't know. So we'll get into that a little bit more next Tuesday.
Honestly, I think if you ask that question just even before the playoffs compared to now, I think you'd get a different answer. Just based off of how Anthony Edwards and Brunson have done in the playoffs, and even Shea. That's something I got to look into.
Yeah. Oh, Flores, he's hopping in with more movies. She's all that.
Devils Wear Prada's good, and she's all that.
Yeah, but here's the thing: the Freddie Prinze Jr. movies,
they're
all the same. They're all the same, and I don't have a problem with him. I can't knock the guy, but he's Freddie Prinze Jr. He's just so, I don't know.
No, again, I'm a kid, and he was Fred in the Scooby Doo movies, so I was like 5 when that came out.
Yeah.
6, but yeah. So, there's a lot of biases, that happens when, it's like, oh, look, it's the cartoon come to life and it's Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard and they're Shaggy and Fred,
Yeah. The memories that we have of seeing movies when we're younger. Well, dude, good luck in what do you think? You think like 30 points in the game? What are you going for?
I don't know. We do got a big, and I'm gonna try and work with him and see if we can start running for some dribble handoff. I'm gonna start running some Sacramento offense.
Oh, you're gonna run the DHO, huh? Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? I think it suits my play style because I am not good at dribbling with my left.
But hey, you know what? One of the biggest strengths you can have is knowing your weaknesses. So good
job
by you.
So I figured just DHO actually suits me a lot better just than ISO, obviously. And a lot of pickup basketball is a lot of ISO. It's not really, a lot of fun overall. So I've wanted, actually want to try and get some actual real offense in.
You know that there's going to be that guy that shows up tomorrow in like the newest pair of LeBrons. He's going to have the NBA socks on. He'll probably have the shooting sleeve too.
I got the NBA wristbands.
And he's going to be the dude from Along Came Polly. Raindrops.
Let it rain. I love Seymour Hoffman in that movie.
Yeah, he was good in that movie for sure. All right, dude. Good luck in your game. I got to get to Mr. Moss, but appreciate it. Thanks for chiming in as always, buddy. Corn dog out. Hey, Adam, here's the deal, brother. I saw what you put in the chat, Adam. And I know last time you came on, I ran you, Adam. I promise I won't run you. If you want to do a 5-minute wrestling segment to talk about it, Adam, we can talk about it really quick. I know it's a big wrestling weekend. Moss, tough dude. How you doing today?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Great.
Another cool movie that we didn't mention. It's a movie called Fireproof. It's a Christian movie. It's about a fireman whose relationship, his marriage is falling apart, and his dad is a Christian, and his dad tells him to read the Bible, but he puts like little examples along the way, and he asks his son, just trust and just follow what I tell you to do. And nothing's working. He's doing everything his dad says, but in the end, it actually worked out. It's just called Fireproof. I mean,
Fireproof.
Yeah, I was on Netflix one night just doing this, and I came across it, and amazing. Yeah, amazing.
Is that one of the movies that's directed by, I think his name's Devon Franklin?
I'm not sure who the director is. I didn't get that too deep in the weeds with it, but I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, maybe it is, but just if you get a chance, just maybe you got some free time, you're up late, and just you can stumble upon it and just check it out.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
You'll definitely go to bed feeling a certain type of way.
Love it.
Anyways, man, I was downstairs prepping. My dad's in town, so we're cooking and stuff. But you talked about Elk Grove High School, and I just remember back in the day, Rhino. After the football games, we would go to the Elk Grove Teen Center, right there on Elk Grove Boulevard. Before it turned to that, it was a place called. Did you ever go to Grand Slam?
Okay, dude.
Remember the hoops are lower.
You remember the summertime? I think it was like $10 or $20. You could spend
15, 20 bucks.
Grand Slam USA. You could raise the hoops up and down. Now
batting cages, everything.
Batting cages, but the hoops were closer together. It wasn't like a regulation.
It wasn't. Yeah.
And it was kind of a, I don't know, the sport court sucked, but it was like literally the pull away rims where you could just do whatever you wanted.
Yeah.
That was such a cool
that was such a good time in my life. We had no worries. Kid just living, like always, man. I won't keep you long, but you talked about the Dallas Mavericks being built for the postseason, and first and foremost, their defense is underrated. Okay. They defend. It's not pretty, but it's effective, right? Yeah. I mean, a few years ago, they were top 5, top 6 defense when they got to the Western Conference Finals and lost to the Golden State Warriors. They don't have any top defensive players on their roster per se. I think we look at Derrick Jones Jr. and somewhat say he's above average, but nobody's jumping off the screen defensively, but they do it by committee. Minnesota needs to figure out that drop coverage. I don't like Rudy Gobert, dropping back. He's undecisive, when Luka and Kyrie's coming downhill. And so either you're going to trap it, you're going to blitz it, you're going to hedge it. Can you get back? Listen, as good as Jamal and Joker are, I don't think Jamal probes and manipulates the defense the way that Kyrie and Luka does.
That's a great point. Yeah.
And especially Luka, right? Because now he's an offensive player who can pass. And so now the defense has to play in multiple ways. Is he going to shoot? He has a floater. I can pass it. You know what I'm saying? So guys are kind of in that in-between stage. And we know the game is fast, it's physical. You have to make quick, decisive decisions on the fly. So I expect Minnesota to make some type of adjustment. Edman said, quote, after the game, Kyrie's my matchup. And, you got what you wanted. Kyrie's not Jamal Murray, right?
No, he's not.
He's shiftier. He's faster. He's not afraid of the moment. And I thought Kyrie came out very ultra aggressive, right? He's been averaging damn near 7 points for the first half. He came out and gave you 24, 25. He set that tone early, and that's what great players do. I think Dallas wins tonight. I wouldn't be shocked if Minnesota takes it in a close game, but I got Dallas in 6.
Wow.
I just feel like, listen,
so let me ask you really quick. Which games do you have Minnesota getting then?
I got Minnesota probably winning game 3 in Dallas.
Okay.
And then Dallas winning game 4 in Dallas. I think Minnesota comes back home and gets game 5, and then Dallas closes them out in game 6.
Interesting.
You
Okay.
know, I don't like the fact that Derek Lively, a rookie, is out physically and out rebounding Gobert. You know, Gobert needs to be in double-digit rebounds every game.
So,
I mean,
Moss,
it's just crazy.
isn't this kind of an indictment? And I don't know if it's an indictment of. So when we played hoops back in the day, right? You got to have 2 people back. It's
Sure.
the point guard or whoever's shooting the ball. Usually, you're getting back. Well, like you're looking at the successful teams, they're sending everyone to the boards. Everybody. So you got Lively's, you've got point guards in there rebounding. And if the Kings did that, they have guys with the ability to rebound. Keegan showed it this year. He can crash a little bit. Didn't do it his rookie year. De'Aaron could get there, mix it up. I think the Kings, that is just like one of those adjustments coming into this next season where they could be a lot better and it can make a huge difference.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Keegan and you transitioned to the Kings because Mike Brown made a point. I think it was Keegan's rookie year. He was asked about Keegan shooting in a press conference, and Mike goes, listen, I mean, we all know the kid can shoot. I mean, is the sky blue? He needs to impact the game in other ways when he's not shooting the basketball well, right? He's 6'9", 6'10". Get your butt inside the paint and go help Sabonis, go help some of your bigs down there, and go grab some rebounds. I can't stress how much of a plus that is when your big guys knows that his small guys are crashing, right? I mean, you send everybody to the glass. I mean, Josh Hart, for crying out loud, from the Knicks.
Exactly.
I mean, listen, now, is that, to me, that's just all effort. That's just effort. That's just saying, look, man, I want this possession. We want this basketball. And so a lot of guys, and so, okay, so with that being said, then, Rhino, how much is it that guys are shooting 3-point shots and guys are camping out on the 3-point line, you know, and maybe long rebounds lead out to transition, and maybe they're hesitant to get down there because, you know, guys leak out, you know, per se. I mean, do you think that plays a role as well?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, the amount of 3 balls the Kings shoot at the beginning of the season, we said the right number was probably between 45 and 50. At the end of or actually, I think it was between 50 and 60. And then when we got mid-season, late season, we said between 30 or 40 max. And that's what the Kings started doing. And that's when they started just what you're saying. There wasn't as many long rebounds. There wasn't as many transition opportunities. That's when guys were going in, mixing it up, getting boards, being physical. So I think it does play a role because you remember the last game of the regular season against Portland, or it was was it second to last or the last one this last year?
It was the last game. It was the Blazers.
So Chauncey Billups, game plan, just shoot as many threes as you can. The first quarter, the Blazers, I think, had double digits offensive rebounds. And it's because you can't predict the way that ball's coming off. Like it's not as easy to predict that. There's not as much English on it. So that's a great point, Moss. Great point.
Yeah. I mean, you know, everybody doesn't have an eye for the ball. I mean, guys like Dennis Rodman, you know, some of those bigs back in the 90s, throwing their Ben Wallace, you know, it didn't matter where the ball bounced, you know, they did a great job. And they would talk about how the trajectory of the ball, they can kind of, you know, somewhat guess where it would go. And so there's a little method to the madness a little bit, but you're right. I mean, those long shots, man, the ball can just bounce anywhere. And Rhino, that's why I don't put too much stock in rebounding numbers and use that as a talking point with certain players, because I've never seen so many rebounds in today's era that just bounce right to you, right? For example, Giannis may get you 15 boards, but we know 7 of them just came right to him. You know, I mean, it's not like he's getting like in the paint, you know, throwing elbows and, you know.
Well, Moss, you also, here's the other thing, you know, or you have a better idea as the shooter where that ball's going immediately when it leaves your hand. You know if it's going to be short, you know if it's going to be off the side.
Right.
So you're targeting that. And then a lot of players these days, they use like literally the backboard is basically a teammate. They'll just toss it off the backboard if they're stuck without their dribble, go up.
Oh, yeah, we've seen that. Yeah. Let's tackle this last one, Boston and Indiana, and then I'll let you get out here, or I'll get out here. You're spot on, Rhino. Boston's right for the picking. They've only lost 2 games this postseason, but us diehard basketball fans know what good basketball looks like. We know what consistent, you know, good, efficient, you know, staying on the course, right? And at times, you know, they're lackadaisical. They let teams stay around, stick around, you know. obviously there's no Porzingis there, you know.
It makes a big difference.
And listen, it really does. And I saw Porzingis play here in SAC and in Boston. And those are the only 2 times I've seen him play in person. He's hard to game plan for. I mean, he's not your normal NBA player at 7'3", 7'4", who can shoot it. He's a good rim protector, good enough. He rebounds well.
Yep.
I mean, he moves well for his size.
He does move well.
You know, excuse me. That's what I was most impressed with, the way he just moved without the basketball. He wasn't lazy. No, I'm saying he just wasn't like slow. I mean, like he can move side to side, north, south, east, west. I was impressed by that.
Very good. It's funny that you said team, because what I've noticed in these playoffs more than anything is the teams that are having success are playing like teams. When a star is down, they're picking their star up. They're coming out and they're targeting the way that they want to play the game. And it's like, we're going to imply, or we are going to put, however we want to play on the court, and you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to adjust to the game that we want to play. And Boston doesn't do that. Boston just kind of, they do whatever. And I'm not going to say they're a group of individuals, because they do play well off the pick and roll, yada, yada, yada. But they're not out there running plays. There's not anything specific. They don't have a secret sauce.
They really don't.
And I feel like it's kind of like watching a better version of the Kings.
It's funny you say that, because they don't run offense, right? No. They're a heavy 3-point shooting team. They got long wings in Derek, Jason, and Jalen. And I want to see their offense more going towards the basket with curls and pin downs, and just use that size and height and skill set to get easier shots at the basket. But I think it seems like Boston, to me, makes it tougher than what it has to be, if that makes sense. And you're right. Indiana came out and played fast. And I says, if you're Boston, like, even though you can play fast, right, doesn't mean you have to prove a point and play fast. Like, Boston, play your game. Why is Indiana dictating the pace and dictating what goes on? Exactly. I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, you won damn near over 60 games. Like, you should be the one dictating, And so there's an old saying that I hate people say. And Paul George said this, in his press conference after he lost, I think, game 5 or 6. I'm going to take what the defense gives me. No, you're not. I mean, you think MJ or Kobe would ever say, I'm going to take what you give me? They're going to take what they want to take, correct?
Correct.
And so, teams like Golden State back in their heyday, I'll throw in the San Antonio Spurs. Like, you're not going to get Pop or Steve or Phil, to go against what they do. You have to adjust to them. And if they need to adjust along the way, then they will. They'll tweak it and do what they got to do. And so let me close out with this last point. I think Boston clearly is going to win the series. I mean, obviously Halliburton's banged up. They just don't have enough bodies. I don't think they're just not good enough. I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. And so I think whoever comes out the West, if it's Dallas or Minnesota, Boston's going to be in for a rude awakening. Not saying they can't win the series, but it may take them a few games to adjust, because they've had a cakewalk. And I think Minnesota and Dallas presents problems that no team out East has given them until they get to the finals. And if they're down 2-1, or if they're down 1-2, or a few games in the series, it might be too late to adjust. And so, listen, man, I mean, I'm going to give you a hot take before I go. I think the West wins a chip this year. I think
so too.
I think either Minnesota or Dallas takes it. And and I think a lot of people are going to be shocked.
Moss, I think it might not even be a good series. I think
really?
The West is that much better than the East this year. People are going to be shocked too.
Yeah, I agree with you. Hey, man, well, I don't know if you have any family in the military. I do. My dad has 30 years. He's retired now.
Wow.
100% connected. So salute to all the veterans.
Absolutely.
And those who have paid their way, and we can come on here and talk freely. And, I'm a big advocate of the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of religion. And so, I mean, this is what I do. I talk. And so I think our men of service have given us the right to do that. So salute to them. You have a good weekend. Go to the cabin, man. Just what they say. Go to the cabin, man, because
I can't do it.
But I believe in happy husband, happy home. I don't believe in happy wife. I believe in happy husband, happy home.
Wow, I've never heard that before.
I know, man.
Wow.
I'll make sure my door's closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Always great talking to you, Rhino, man. Have a good weekend, man, and then we'll reconnect next week, man.
Yeah, let's say, hey, we got to link up for a podcast.
For sure. We'll touch bases, man, and then we'll get together, man.
All right, for sure.
Okay,
well, tell
yes,
your
sir.
dad thank you for his service.
Absolutely, man. Thank you.
All right, that's Mr. Moss. Dude knows his hoops. Dude knows his hoops. I love it. The calls off the hook today. Off the hook. Adam, I saw you got stung by a wasp in the face. That's not good, bro. Don't worry about coming on. You take care of that face. I'll throw a little wrestling your way, but first we're gonna bring in Alex. What's up, man? How you doing, Alex?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Great. You on your way somewhere?
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually off on Fridays, so I'm heading down south a little bit. But yeah, nothing too crazy today. How's your day going?
It's going good. Okay, I gotta ask you the question I've asked. Are you driving right now?
I am, but I have my phone on a stand or whatever, so I'm not.
Okay. All right.
I'm not being unsafe or anything like that.
Okay. Good. Okay. What is a movie that you love, but you're embarrassed to tell everybody about it?
Well, I was hearing you say that earlier. That's a pretty good question, because I'm a movie and show buff at times when I have free time. I would probably say Mean Girls for that one.
Mean Girls, okay.
Yeah, I grew up watching them. My sisters used to like it, and I watched them. You know, I kind of liked it too. It's it's a little corny, and it's like back kind of in the day, but it had its entertaining moments. So I don't mind putting it on, or if it's on, I don't mind watching it. It's entertaining. You know what I mean?
Yep, no doubt. I love it. I love it, my man. So what's up on this Friday? You headed south. You want to talk some hoops? You want to talk some movies, some wrestling, some food? What it be?
You know what? I do want to do hoops a little bit, but I did see, not too long ago that you're into wrestling, which is fantastic. I am too. I don't know this 100%, but do you keep up with AEW, or you're kind of like in and out, or what's your thoughts on AEW?
Yeah. So my roommate in college works for the WWE. So I watched it growing up, and then he got a job with them. I went to visit him at a show here in Sacramento. I think it was it was a minute ago, more than 10 years ago. Probably like 13 years ago. And that's what got me back into it, because I got to meet some of the wrestlers, and so now I'm into it. But yes, I follow both AEW and WWE. AEW, the talent is incredible. Their newer talent, Will Ospreay, Okada, all those guys. But Tony Khan, Alex, there was a probably week stretch here on the King's Court where Tony Khan could not stay off the show. I'm just Tony, please, I don't want to talk about you anymore. And he kept doing stuff where he wore the whole neck brace at the NFL draft, and then it just kept snowballing. So I think they've got a great product, but they've got a guy who is, I don't want to invoke the name of VKM because of the horrible things he's been accused of. But in terms of management style outside of those things that I'm talking about, Tony Khan is an idiot. And somehow he thinks that he is the next coming, the wrestling genius. This dude is the wallet for the wrestlers that started AEW. And he's just got to get out of his own way. The petty stuff, WWE Punk, does the thing where he helps Damian Priest cash in. Well, what does Tony Khan have to do then? Oh, we're going to release the Punk video after WrestleMania, And he's just an idiot. He's an idiot. Somebody needs to remind him that he is the money. He is not the promoter.
You know what? That's one of the best takes I've heard in a long time, because I basically agree with everything. However, one thing I will say is, so I'll watch it with my dad, AEW, at times, because for him it reminds him of the old WCW days, like the alternative wrestling. You know what I mean? Like against the man type wrestling. Which, okay, that's fine. But for me, it was fun in the beginning, and then it kind of, again, maybe because I've always watched WWE, I'm used to the storytelling style and like how smooth it is, I guess. AEW for me, it feels a lot of times like an indie show with money. If that makes sense.
100%. 100%. And that's what makes it tricky, because they're working with other promotions, you know? You got to be really careful how you're booking guys, because it can affect them in the other promotion. So yeah, good point by you.
Yeah, no, and like, but again, to what you were saying, I would pipe in here and there whenever like my dad would say, "Hey, something's cool's gonna happen, come over." Okay, I'll come watch it. But with that whole little punk footage thing, again, like I've already been embarrassed for Tony Khan. So after that, I was like, all right, I think I'm done. Like,
Alex,
you know,
Alex, he freaking doubled down on the Punk video by then wearing he wore the neck brace at the NFL draft, dude. You've got a stadium full of Jacksonville fans having a draft party right outside your little pretty offices, and you're pushing a wrestling storyline, then you trade your pick back, and then it turns into a big thing where he's doing the media rounds, then he invokes VKM's name, and now he's going to sell the neck brace. I told everybody, I want that neck brace. I want that so bad. When it goes for sale with Rich Eisen's charity, I will trade out that Gold Miners helmet for that neck brace, put it in a nice shadow box. It's got to be ours. That's how much I despise Tony Khan.
You know what? Like, I try to empathize just because of my line of work, you know, doing therapy and all that. So I'm like, okay, you know, if I had money like that, like him anyway, and if my dad, you know, was a billionaire and he gave me a wrestling promotion, maybe I would act that way too. I don't know. I try to empathize with everything. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know, man. Like that guy, he, like you said, he can't stay out of his own way. And also, if you're trying to be a different entity, then you need to keep the other people out of your mouth. Not every single segment has to be a shot or a blow. And I'll say this real quick to not make this a wrestling show, but I'm a big fan of Edge. But when they made him do the little damage control thing, and you know they had made him go out there and say, I forgot why they made him go out there. I think it was like a retaliation to WWE or like damage control or whatever. I was like, dude, why are you doing my boy Edge like that? Don't make Edge damage control for AEW. That's terrible. But anyway, you know, I don't want to, like I said, drag it on to this big wrestling thing. But AEW is very tough for me to watch. I'll watch it at times with my dad if he invites me, because, like I said, it reminds him of the old WCW days. For me, it's kind of like to me, it reminds me of the end of TNA when it started going downhill. I hope they do good just for the wrestlers' sake. But if one day Shad Khan decides, hey, I'm going to invest my money in the Jaguars and not the AEW, then I don't know. Maybe I don't want bad on anybody, but I just don't see how it's going to continue with the game flopping. The shows, dude, and I'm sorry, I'm still ranting, but the shows are usually in 6,000 plus venues, and the most they've had is about 2,000 people show up. This is the past 3 or 4 months.
Yeah,
it's like you can't stay in a sustainable business like that. Again, they're loaded, they're rich, so if he wants to make that his pet project, so be it. But again, it's just very cringe for me to watch. That when you I'm not saying WWE is perfect by any means, but when you compare the two, it's a very well-oiled machine. And again, I think Tony is just a big wrestling mark, like a lot of us, and he wants to be everybody's best friend. And you know, like my favorite growing up was The Undertaker. You can't tell me, I can't lie to myself. If I was working with The Undertaker, I'd probably be a mark too. You know what I mean? That's why I try to empathize. But again, it's just tough for me. I'm not trying to be a WWE mark, but you know, I enjoy it a lot more than AEW, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. I look, they had all the momentum in the world coming off of was it All In? What's the one that they did at Wembley? All In, right?
Yeah, All In or All Out, one of those. Yeah.
They sold out a massive stadium, and they had Osprey perform there. You had the whole Cole MG.
Oh, real quick. I'm gonna cut you off. Osprey is the only one that I will tune in
100%.
for. That guy's incredible.
100%.
That guy is incredible. Yeah. He might be the best right now.
He is, in my eyes, he is the best professional wrestler I've ever seen in my life. And I had never seen him. I had heard his name. I had never watched his matches until he came to AEW. And my goodness, like I'm listen to my bump-in music on the King's Court. It's his theme song. Like I am a Will Ospreay mark. Hey, I'm gonna get to Adam really quick because he is gonna talk some wrestling too. But hey, man, I appreciate the call, Alex. Dude, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Tell everybody where they can find you. I forgot that you have a podcast, so
you know what? I'm not in it a whole lot. I'll try to upload a video once a week. I get real busy with work, but it's official Hair in the Beard Pod on Instagram, and then the Hair in the Beard podcast on YouTube. I mainly do sports, NFL, NBA, big MMA, big UFC fight coming up next week, UFC 302. So I'll have a preview for that, and then some wrestling, and just try some current events, movie reviews. So just trying to follow in your guys' footsteps, but half-assed though, not full throttle like you and Grant.
Hey, well, you know what? At least you're trying. That's all that matters. You know, if you're putting the effort in, I will always give you and anybody else a platform to pimp out what you're doing. So appreciate it,
man. Ryan, you're killing it, dude. This show is, excuse my French, it's fucking fantastic. So keep it up. I wish I could tune in more. I'm just busy during the week, besides the end of the week. So, dude, keep killing it. You're doing awesome, and
thank you,
I'll see if I can chime in next week. Have a great weekend.
You too, Alex. Love it. Thank you for the kind words. And a lot of that is because of this community. Like, we're building. I said this the other day. Adam, coming to you in 1 second, buddy. I said it the other day. This community we're building. Not only are you interacting with me, you're interacting with each other. And I know there's many choices at 2:00. It was very strategic to start this show at 2:00 because I wanted to see what we could do. I wanted to see if maybe there was room for an alternative. And I'll tell you what, through this first month of the live shows, it sure looks that way. And this is such a fun community. Look what we've talked about today. We've talked about our fallen heroes. We've talked about basketball. We've talked about movies that we're ashamed to tell people we love. We have fun. We've talked wrestling. In fact, we're going to talk a little bit more wrestling here in just a second, but I appreciate all of you. We are here to stay on If You Don't Like That. It's going to be a lot of fun. The show is only going to grow from here, and the guests will continue as well. So thank you so much for all of your support, and thank you to those that have donated to the channel. Any donations, which are not necessary but appreciated, they go straight back into If You Don't Like That, and also the King's Court, so we can continue bringing you the best content here in Sacramento before your drive home. I asked this guy to call, and he did it, and he got stung by a wasp in the face. Adam, my man, are you okay?
There's a first time for everything, I suppose.
What were you doing?
I was mowing the lawn, and I busted out the weed whacker to trim it up a little bit, and they didn't seem to like that. So I got stung in the face and in the shoulder within a heartbeat, and went running down the street out of my backyard sounding like Samuel L. Jackson. My neighbors were like, "What happened?"
Well, you're in. It's okay that I say where you're at, right?
Yeah, totally.
So you're in Texas.
Yes, sir.
We're having a problem in California with the Africanized bees. Do you guys have to deal with those out there?
I don't know, but we got to deal with a whole bunch of different weird bugs and creatures that can hurt yet. So
Yeah, there is
I
a
don't know.
little bit.
We've only been here for 2.5 years now, so we're still getting
Okay.
used to it a little bit. But that was a first for me,
Man,
and it
well,
didn't feel good.
no, it's poison. It's poison, my
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
There's people that have really bad allergic reactions to that
Yeah, I
stuff,
was-
and it's not good at all. We were now I'm gonna go off track really quick. We were in Maui, and so for our graduation trip or whatever it was, yeah, I love Maui. Me, my best friend, and then a couple of our lady friends at the time got to go to their condo on our own. In fact, actually, his mom did come just so she could make sure we had provisions, if you know what I mean. But anyways, we got off, or we were doing a snorkel cruise, or a little day snorkeling thing out by
The
Black
best.
Rock. Is it Black Rock or Malachi? Malachi.
I haven't been to Maui. I've been to Kauai and Oahu, but
Okay,
I still
you got to
haven't
get
been
to
Maui yet.
Maui. It's God's land. I mean, Mama's Fish House. Oh my goodness, on the island.
I
But
was. Oh, go for it.
No, go.
I was talking to someone today who just went to Hawaii, and I go, you always hear about people who go to Hawaii and tell all these stories, and you're like, yeah, that sounds good, but it's probably overrated. No, Hawaii is accurately rated.
Yeah. No, there's no doubt about it. So we go on this snorkel thing, right? We had been in the water for maybe 2 minutes, and I'm like probably 30, 40 yards away from the boat. And I just felt like at that time, it was the worst pain I'd ever felt in my life. And I started screaming like a little girl. And so somebody swam out to me. Everybody thought like I was getting attacked by a shark or something, but I had no idea what had happened. But basically it felt like, have you ever wrapped like a thread around your finger too tight?
Yeah.
Like, think about the tightest you could possibly do that, where it feels like it's digging into your skin, but like there's fire and electricity going through it. And so I got out, and I had like I had 3 marks. They were like going that way, that way, that way. And I got stung by a jellyfish.
That sounds awful.
And so we were at the beginning of the cruise, so they weren't going to take me back. I had to just chill there. And do you know
Walk it off?
Do you know what put some dirt on it. Do you know what the prescription is? Sometimes for jellyfish sting?
I've heard rumors. I don't know if it works or not, but I've heard rumors.
Yes. So now the people that we were with, my friend and then the girls, well, it was more my friend. The girls weren't doing it. It was no longer, yes, that's right. It was no longer about the snorkel cruise. It was, can we please pee on your arm? And I'm like, no, you're not peeing on my arm. Nobody's doing that. But I had scars for 6 months after.
Maybe you should have let them.
Fresh. You know what? They ended up having they had some vinegar. So I might,
so the ammonia does work.
Yes. So I might have let him R. Kelly me on my arm if
I wasn't going to say it because I didn't want to get run.
No, you're not getting run. I told you that. You're good. I might have let him R. Kelly me about hour 2 into that sting because it was brutal. But anyways, I hope your face is all right, man. You're good now. You're not swelled up. You didn't have an allergic reaction. So
strong like bull.
For those that don't know, Adam is our resident wrestling correspondent. Adam, what's going on this weekend in the wrestling world?
Man, okay, so we got King and Queen of the Ring.
You're going solo, by the way. Take the
Oh, this is me. All right. Well, first up, we've got the Queen of the Ring finals featuring Lyra Valkyria versus the winner of tonight's matchup of Nia Jax and Bianca Belair. I'm going to go a little bit of a wild card here. I think, I like the push that they're doing with some of the NXT people that got drafted. I think Nia Jax wins tonight, and I think she wins tomorrow night as well.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Lyra Valkyria, I can't see them pushing her to win this thing. Bianca Belair, she's already got the tag title. I don't know if I could see him doing it, giving it to Bianca Belair, because they gave Becky the title again too. So, but I'll go out on a limb. I'll go with Nia Jax to win that.
I'm gonna go. So the way that they've done the King of the Ring tournament, and actually the Levesque era has been great. I've loved what Triple H has done. Typically with these tournaments, it's to make a new star, right? But the way they've booked it so far, it seems like they're going to go a little bit more established. Now, I do think that they will, on the women's side, go with Valkyria because she's hot right now. She's up from NXT, and she's the only one that's going to get that that push, right? Somebody from NXT is going to have to get it. Obviously, Tiffany Stratton is the star out of all of them, and she is not bad to look at either. She's married to Ludwig Kaiser.
European excellence. I'm a big Imperium guy. So,
dude, I'm an Imperium guy, but you're gonna tell me Stratton can't do better than that guy? Anyway, all right, what do we got?
Hey, man, he's shredded. You can't hate that.
He is shredded.
Then we got the King of the Ring finals. Gunther versus the winner of Randy Orton versus Tama Tonga. Again, pushing Tama Tonga pretty hard here in that new bloodline. I don't know. My heart, I'll always pick Gunther. That's my ride or die, dude. Love that guy. So I'll pick him, but I could also see Tama Tonga doing it too, because I think with the loss of Roman, they've got to do something to boost the bloodline and their what's the word I'm looking for here? The credibility, I suppose.
I think they're going to put Orton over Tonga because I don't think you can go Tonga Gunther.
No, yeah, you got a good point there.
But what would make the most sense is to put Tonga over Orton, so that way he's got that notch in his belt, but then ultimately Gunther going over. But I think that notch doesn't go to him. I think it goes to Gunther. I think it's Orton Gunther in the finals. And it's 100% Gunther. Book it now. Gunther, Cody Rhodes at some point at WrestleMania.
I hope so, man. I hope they give him a big push and start competing for the big belts. Yeah, I don't know. Tama Tonga, that dude's got to work on the mic skills a little bit, I think, in my opinion.
What's up?
Last time when he was doing that, like, squirrel chatter or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it doesn't work. It's probably something that his dad used to do. But what's up with what was the guy I was gonna? Oh yeah, Solo. Is he the leader of the bloodline or the freaking car driver? Drop the gloves, bro.
Yeah, the gloves is that's a tough look to pull off. Yeah, I don't know. I guess he's doing it, but I don't buy it. I personally think behind the scenes it's going to come out that he just called himself,
of course,
right, and he has had no contact with Roman Reigns at all. He's just asserting himself. Yeah, Solo's
sorry to cut you off.
Rough on the mic there too, Mark. Sorry.
They made a mistake with that. They made a huge mistake with the way they built that bridge to this storyline, because you had Paul Heyman constantly call Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is on speed dial to Paul Heyman. You don't think Paul Heyman, because he's, kind of the snake in the grass, whatever. You don't think Paul Heyman wouldn't have called Roman Reigns and been like, hey, is this what you wanted? So the storyline there doesn't make sense. I can't make that connection. I think they screwed up there, but obviously it looks like they're going to bring him back as a massive face, Roman Reigns, whenever he appears again.
I think people miss him. I think I miss him. I miss just having that, I miss having a good heel right now. We don't have that.
It's got to be Orton. It's got to be Orton. It's some point.
Maybe it's Damian Priest, but
I don't see it. See, Priest, it's been so disappointing.
Yeah, I don't dislike Damian Priest. Those guys have been kind of growing on me. But without Rhea Ripley, I mean, Judgment Day is toast. I think they should blow it up. I think Dom should go to Phantasma. I don't know.
Santos Escobar is going to be a star too.
Yeah.
Wait, he's going to be a star.
Oh, sure. They're pushing him hard. And I thought it was weird that they split those two groups up between Raw and SmackDown, because I think you could have had a really good rivalry between those two factions and made something out of it, but we'll see.
I think they probably do eventually split up the Judgment. Say, any idea? Mark wants to know when Rhea's supposed to be back.
I haven't heard anything. I think she's going to be out long enough for them to strip her of the belt. So we know that.
She already was.
Right. And she just posted on her Instagram, not that I follow her, but she's lounging out on a beach.
Good for her.
With her husband or boyfriend or whoever.
Oh no, it wasn't her. One of my buddies was at Disneyland or Disney World, excuse me, about 4 weeks ago, and Roman was there vacationing. Obviously he lives in Florida, but he said that there was just masses of security around him, which you would imagine. But okay, so let's hop over to Cody Rhodes and Logan Paul. Title for title. Now the title for title thing,
I don't think it is title for title.
I think no.
Oh, it will be at stake. Okay,
yes,
cool.
Yeah. So how do you book that? That one you're kind of booked into a corner, I think.
I'll respect Logan's work inside the ring for what he's done, but he is not present on any of the shows. He shows up for the pay-per-views, and that's about it. And for me, good. Get rid of him for the title. I think what will happen is that it will end in some sort of disqualification. Some social media influencer shows up and they just call the match, and neither belt exchanges hands.
There you go. I think that's smart booking right there for sure. Liv Morgan, Becky Lynch.
I am not a Becky Lynch fan, and
me either. She's lost it.
Yeah, she didn't do anything for me. So I'll go Liv Morgan all day. Yeah. She's one of my faves. But yeah, I'll go with that.
Okay.
The Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, Bronson Reed. I'm going to go. Hey, how about those effects? You like that?
Did you do that? Well done.
I think it's something with.
That was awesome.
You can do different effects with the camera on MacBooks and when you're on Zoom calls and stuff like that. I did not mean to do that, but
that was awesome, dude. That was great. Okay. I think it's too soon for Chad Gable. You got to let this. There's more to play out still. He's going to have to go through Otis first, and Chad Gable. Okay. I was just going to say, I think Chad Gable could be a dark horse to win the Royal Rumble next year. We'll see. I really like what they're doing with him. I actually was lucky enough to get a little bit of inside information from my friend on that and how that worked out, because that was supposed to be his spot at WrestleMania, not Sammy's. And let's hop over actually to AEW. Is Priest wrestling anybody? Who's Priest wrestling? It's
no, I don't see him on here unless I'm missing something.
He was talking crap to somebody on Raw the other week. I don't remember. Let's hop over to AEW. They have a pay-per-view this weekend really quick. We'll just hit the big ones. Ospreay, Roderick Strong. By the way, Roderick Strong, I've been super impressed with his work.
I will be completely honest with you. I don't watch a single second of AEW.
Oh, really? Okay, so
Yeah.
you're a WWE guy. All right.
Yeah. You know, maybe if it was the old WCW days, but you know, I have enough time that I spend watching WWE that
Love it.
my wife would probably kill me that if I watched another.
So, are we leaving any matches out on WWE?
Not that I see. I only see 5 on the CBS website. I don't know. This is probably not the Bible for it, but
No, 5 sounds about right. You got both of the Kings of the Rings. You got the Cody. You got the IC, and then you've got yeah, that's 5.
I just that Intercontinental Championship. I wonder if this is when Otis turns on Gable or what they're doing there. But I think Alpha Academy is a little bit toast right now.
Oh yeah,
Otis is a huge
face.
face. Gable's now a huge heel. I think they turned Gable because he just wasn't big enough of a face, and so they're like, okay, we got to do something to make people feel something about this guy. And
Yep.
now everyone hates him.
No doubt. I am with you. Well, they actually had momentum with that when he wrestled Gunther. I think it was in his hometown for the IC belt. Yeah. I was shocked they didn't go back to Gable, but makes sense why. Bigger story. You just got to be a little bit patient. Dude, thank you for dropping in on the
Thanks for having me.
Hey, pay-per-views going forward. You want to be our wrestling guy that comes on?
Let's
That's
do
like
it.
a 5-minute segment? Perfect.
I'm down.
Love it. All right, brother. Hey, take care of the stings. Hey, wasps are so useless. There's a use for bees. They pollinate. What do wasps do? And by the way, have you ever seen their little nests, like when the little baby ones are just kind of rolling around in there?
No,
It's like
I
some
didn't see
alien versus predator crap. I don't like that.
Yeah, I took out one of their other little nests last weekend, so this is probably retaliation.
Retaliation. They get defensive. There's no doubt about that. All right, brother. Take care.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for the
You
call,
too.
man. All right.
Appreciate it.
Woo! What a Friday on the King's Court. We're at 2 hours and 15 minutes. I love it. 202 are either here live or have checked in at some point. I'm looking at, you know what? I can look on the Twitter Spaces right now and tell you how many are here via X Live. It says we've got almost 200. All right, I love it. Well, we ran long. As you saw, King's Court, we cover everything, just not the Kings. We had some fun with movies. We had Haunted Horse, Mr. Moss, Corn Dog, Dirk, Adam, everybody. I know I'm leaving people out. Alex, what a fun day. And again, you know what? Salute our heroes this Memorial Day. Probably the most important thing. If you take anything from today's show, thank you, Joe. Thank you for your sacrifice, my friend. And thank you for the person you were around us and the football team. And somehow this reaches your parents' deepest sympathies and regards and celebrations on this Memorial Day. All right, y'all, make it a great one. Don't forget, I will be back tomorrow, not live, but you can go to the King's Court on X and or you can find it. I'll put it up really quick. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. In fact, I believe 76% of our listeners come from Apple Podcasts. That link will take you to my X page. You can find all the information there. But on the weekends, you get an all-new King's Court Saturday morning, Sunday morning. I'll give you one on the holiday Monday. And then we will be back to live shows on Tuesday. Who knows? Grant and I might pop up in between then and now, but we're not going to do a little scrum show tonight. This will be it. So a lot going on this weekend. You've got Game 2, Minnesota, Dallas tonight. You've got 2 wrestling pay-per-views this weekend. So a lot going. Thank you to everybody. Again, don't forget, go check out A Walk to Remember. That's my corny movie that I love. That one will get up in your feelings. But you guys threw some good ones in. Titanic got a ton of love. So, all right, y'all, make it a great one. Again, thank you so much for helping build this community with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Tedora, hit it as you always do.
Holy moly, Jimbaboli.
Yes, indeed. Go Kings, light the damn beam. Court is dismissed for this Memorial Day weekend.